The ocean was calm that morning, the waves rising and falling like the slow rhythm of a sleeping giant. Camilla stood on the deck of her private yacht holding a cup of tea. The wind played with her light brown hair as she looked toward the horizon. Her eyes were calm, but her heart was racing. Hidden deep inside the yacht was something that could change her life forever. Inside a small steel box in her cabin were the royal gems that once belonged to the late queen. Camilla was not a thief by nature. She had grown up in the service of the royal family. Her father had worked as a guard, and her mother as a maid in the royal palace. From childhood, she had watched the royal family live in comfort while the servants struggled to make ends meet. After the queen's death, she saw something inside the palace that made her believe the world was unfair. The royal advisors were fighting over the queen's treasures, deciding which jewels would go to which family member. No one cared about the servants who had given their lives to the crown. That night, when everyone slept, Camilla entered the queen's private room. The air was still and the scent of perfume lingered. On the table lay the queen's jewelry box filled with diamonds, rubies, and sapphires. The jewels sparkled even in the dim light. Camilla hesitated for a long time. Her heart said it was wrong, but her mind said it was justice. She wrapped the gems carefully in silk cloth and placed them inside a small metal box. She did not know what she would do next, only that she had to get them out of the country. Now, 3 days later, she was sailing toward America. The yacht moved gracefully over the blue water and everything seemed peaceful. But Camilla knew peace never lasted long. She had seen 2 helicopters flying over the coast that morning. At first, she thought they were just patrols, but soon she realized they were following her direction. She told her assistant, a quiet man named Leo, to stay calm and act normal. Leo had been with her since her time at the palace. He was loyal and smart, but he had no idea what was hidden in the yacht. Leo brought her breakfast, smiling as always. "We will reach New York in 2 days," he said. "The sea is clear and the forecast is good." Camilla nodded but did not respond. She felt uneasy. She went inside her cabin and checked the steel box again. The gems were safe, shining under the soft light. Each one carried history: the queen's crown diamond, the ruby necklace worn at her coronation, the emerald ring that once symbolized the empire's wealth. Camilla touched them gently, wondering if she had made a mistake. While she stood there thinking, the communication radio crackled. Leo's voice came through. "Camilla, a Royal Navy ship is signaling us. They want us to stop." Her heart skipped a beat. She closed the box quickly and locked it in her drawer. She walked up to the deck, forcing herself to stay calm. On the horizon, she saw the Royal Navy ship growing larger. Its flag was waving in the wind. Behind it, 2 smaller boats followed closely. The sight sent a chill down her spine. The radio crackled again, and a firm voice spoke. "Private Yacht Celeste, this is the Royal Maritime Security Force. You are requested to stop for inspection. Please respond." Leo looked at Camilla, confused. "Why would they stop us?" "We have all the clearances." Camilla's mind raced. "Maybe a routine check," she said quietly, though she did not believe her own words. The yacht slowed down. The Navy ship drew closer, and soon 3 guards boarded the yacht. They were polite but serious. Their leader, a man with sharp eyes named Captain Rowan, introduced himself. "We are conducting a security inspection under royal orders," he said. "There are reports of missing royal property. We hope for your cooperation." Camilla's lips tightened, but she smiled softly. "Of course, Captain. You are welcome to inspect the yacht." The guards spread out, searching each cabin. Camilla followed Captain Rowan as he looked around. He asked casual questions about her journey, her destination, and her business in America. Camilla answered carefully, choosing her words. She could not let her fear show. She had learned from her time in the palace that calmness was a weapon. When the guards entered her private cabin, she felt her throat tighten. One of them moved toward the drawer where the box was hidden. But before he could open it, Leo appeared at the door holding a tray with tea. "Would anyone like something to drink?" he asked kindly. The guard paused, and Captain Rowan smiled slightly. "Not now, thank you," he said, motioning for the search to continue. Camilla tried to distract them. "Captain, would you like to see the yacht's documents? Everything is in order." She led him toward her office, hoping to pull attention away from the drawer. For a few minutes it worked. The captain looked at the papers, checked the yacht's route, and seemed satisfied. But just as he was about to leave, one of his men called out from the cabin. "Sir, I found a locked compartment." The captain turned. Camilla's heart sank. He walked back into the cabin and looked at the drawer. "Miss Camilla, please open it," he said firmly. She smiled faintly. "It's just personal items, Captain." "Then there is no problem opening it," he replied. Camilla had no choice. Her fingers trembled as she unlocked the drawer. The steel box sat inside, looking ordinary but heavy with secrets. Captain Rowan noticed the weight when he lifted it. "What is inside?" he asked. "Family keepsakes," she said softly. He opened it slowly. The light from the cabin reflected off the gems, filling the room with color. For a moment, even the guards stared in silence. The jewels sparkled with royal beauty. Then Captain Rowan's expression changed. "These belong to the royal family," he said. Camilla's voice was calm but cold. "They belong to the Queen. She is gone now, and no one in the palace deserves them." The captain stared at her for a long moment. He did not raise his weapon, but his tone became sharp. "Miss Camilla, you are under royal investigation. We will escort your yacht to the nearest naval base." Leo looked at her with wide eyes. "Camilla, what is happening?" She did not answer. She simply looked at the horizon. The ocean was still calm, but inside her a storm had begun. She knew this was not the end. She had a plan, one that the royal guards could not imagine. As the Navy ship turned, she quietly whispered to herself, "They will not take them back." The sun began to set, painting the sky orange and red. The royal guard stood on the deck, watching her every move. Camilla walked to the edge of the yacht, her eyes fixed on the horizon toward America. In her mind, she was already thinking of her next move. The jewels had cost her freedom, but she was not ready to surrender yet. The evening sky grew darker as the Royal Navy ship escorted Camilla's yacht through the quiet sea. The sound of engines echoed across the waves. Camilla stood by the window in her cabin, her face calm but her mind restless. The jewels were locked again inside the steel box, now placed under the guard's watch. Captain Rowan had been firm but respectful. He had not handcuffed her, though she knew she was no longer free. Leo sat near the small dining table, his face pale with confusion. He had been loyal to Camilla for years, but this was something he could not understand. "You took the Queen's jewels," he said in a low voice. "Why would you do that? You worked for the royal family all your life." Camilla turned toward him, her voice soft but steady. "Because those jewels never belonged to the right people. They were built on the hard work of others. My father protected that family his whole life, and when he died, no one even sent flowers. I took what they never earned." Leo looked down, his fingers trembling slightly. "But this will destroy you," he said. "They will not forgive this." Camilla walked closer to him. "Maybe, but I'm not asking for forgiveness. I am asking for justice." Outside, the sea was growing rough. The wind howled and the sky filled with thick clouds. The Navy ship's lights flashed in the dark as it stayed close to the yacht. Captain Rowan stood on the deck, his eyes scanning the horizon. He had been in the service long enough to know when something felt wrong. A storm was coming, and not just from the sky. The radio crackled again. The voice of a senior officer came through from the palace. "Captain Rowan, the Royal Council demands the jewels be secured and the suspect brought back to the capital immediately." Rowan replied calmly, "Understood, sir. But the weather is turning. We may need to take shelter at the nearest port." The officer's voice sounded annoyed. "Do not delay. The Queen's jewels must not leave royal custody again." The radio went silent. Rowan sighed and turned to his men. "Stay sharp. If the storm gets worse, we will anchor near the coast." In her cabin, Camilla felt the yacht sway as the waves grew higher. She looked out the window and saw lightning flash across the sea. Her heart beat faster. She was not afraid of the storm. She was afraid of losing her chance. She had a plan, and this storm might be her only hope to escape. Leo was still watching her with worry. "Camilla, what are you thinking?" he asked. She gave a faint smile. "I am thinking that fate has given us a chance. The storm will separate us from the Navy ship. If that happens, we run." Leo stared at her, shocked. "Run where?" "We are in the middle of the ocean. South," she said quickly. "There is a small island with an old dock. I remember it from when I worked with the Royal Fleet. If we reach it, we can hide until the search ends." Leo hesitated. "That is madness." "Maybe," Camilla replied. "But it is better than being locked in a royal cell." Minutes later, the storm arrived. The wind roared and rain poured down in sheets. The waves crashed against the yacht, tossing it like a leaf in a river. The Navy ship struggled to stay close, its signal lights flashing through the rain. Captain Rowan shouted orders to his crew, trying to keep both ships safe. But visibility dropped to almost nothing. Camilla saw her chance. She rushed to the control room with Leo. The pilot had gone outside to secure a rope line, leaving the controls unattended. Camilla grabbed the steering handle and shouted, "Hold on!" The yacht turned sharply to the right, breaking away from the Navy ship's formation. The engines roared as she pushed them to full power. Leo held onto the rail as water sprayed through the windows. "They will notice," he shouted. "They already have," Camilla answered. On the Navy ship, alarms sounded. "The yacht is breaking formation!" one of the crew members shouted. Captain Rowan looked at the radar. "They are changing course. Follow them." But the sea was too violent. The radar flickered and the connection to the yacht went dead. The storm swallowed everything. Camilla steered through the waves, guiding the yacht south. She knew the route by memory, though the storm made it almost impossible to see. The wind howled like 1,000 voices. Leo tried to keep the equipment steady. "We are going to sink if you keep this speed," he warned. "We will make it," she said firmly. "We have to." Hours passed before the storm began to fade. The sky turned gray and the first light of dawn appeared. The sea was calmer now, though the yacht had suffered damage. One of the antennas was broken, and water had entered the lower cabins. But they were still afloat. Leo looked exhausted. "We lost them," he said, looking behind at the empty horizon. Camilla nodded. "Good. Now we go to the island." By midday, they saw land ahead. It was a small green island surrounded by sharp rocks. The dock, she remembered, was still there, half broken but usable. The yacht slowed as they approached. Camilla stepped onto the deck, breathing the fresh air. For the first time in days, she felt a small spark of hope. They tied the yacht and began to unload supplies. Camilla took the steel box with her, holding it close. Leo followed, still unsure of what they would do next. "We cannot stay here forever," he said. "We will not," Camilla replied. "But we need time to plan." They walked into the trees, finding an old hut left behind by fishermen years ago. It was small but safe. Inside, they lit a lamp and dried their clothes. Camilla placed the box on the table and opened it. The jewels still shone, untouched by the chaos of the storm. Leo stared at them again, unable to look away. "They are beautiful," he said quietly. Camilla nodded. "And dangerous. People kill for things like this. But I did not take them for money. I took them because I wanted the truth to be known. These jewels were not symbols of honor. They were symbols of greed." Leo looked at her with mixed feelings. "You risked everything for a message no one may ever hear." "Then I will make them hear it," she said. "If we reach America, I can sell one piece to survive and use the rest to reveal what the royals have hidden for years." Before Leo could answer, a sound came from outside. A faint noise of an engine in the distance. They both froze. Camilla rushed to the window. Through the trees, she saw a small drone flying over the island. It carried the emblem of the Royal Guard. Leo whispered, "They found us." Camilla closed the box quickly. Her eyes burned with determination. "Then we move again. They will not catch us this time." The drone hovered for a few seconds before flying back toward the sea. Camilla knew it was only a matter of time before the guards arrived. She grabbed a map from her bag and pointed toward the west. "There is an old cargo route near this island. If we reach it before night, we can find a ship heading to the mainland." Leo hesitated, then nodded. "All right. I will trust you," Camilla smiled faintly. "You always have." As they prepared to leave, the wind picked up again. The sea called from beyond the trees. The hunt was far from over. Camilla looked once more at the box of jewels and whispered, "For justice, not power." Then she closed the lid and stepped out of the hut, ready for the next fight. The morning sun rose slowly over the small island. The sound of waves hitting the rocks mixed with the cry of seabirds. Camilla and Leo had not slept all night. They sat near the old hut, watching the horizon, waiting for any sign of danger. The drone that had passed earlier meant only one thing. The royal guards knew their location. Camilla packed the jewels again inside the steel box and wrapped it in a layer of cloth. She placed it in a waterproof bag and tied it to her shoulder. Leo stood beside her, holding a small bag of supplies. "If the guards come here, they will check the dock first," he said. "We need to leave before they arrive." Camilla nodded. "There is a small cave on the other side of the island. If we reach it, we can wait for a cargo ship to pass. I saw a route on the map yesterday. It might lead us to the mainland. They started moving through the dense trees. The forest was quiet except for the sound of rustling leaves. The air smelled of salt and earth. Camilla led the way with confidence. She had trained in navigation during her time in the royal service. Leo followed, still worried but trusting her judgment. As they walked, Leo broke the silence. "Do you ever regret it?" he asked. "Taking the jewels?" Camilla did not answer immediately. She looked at the ground and said softly, "Sometimes I do. But then I remember how the palace treated those who served them. My mother spent 30 years cleaning their halls. When she fell sick, they replaced her in one day. No reward, no farewell. These jewels are not just treasure to me. They are proof that the royals do not own everything." Leo sighed. "You are brave, but this path is dangerous. Once they catch us, there will be no second chance." Camilla stopped and looked at him. "Then we will not get caught." They reached the edge of a small cliff that overlooked the sea. Below, the waves crashed against the rocks. Far in the distance, they saw a ship moving slowly. It was not a navy ship. It looked like a fishing vessel. Camilla took out her small binoculars and watched it closely. "It is heading north," she said. "If we can reach it, they might take us to the mainland." Leo frowned. "We have no boat." "We will build one," Camilla replied. They climbed down toward the beach on the other side of the island. There they found pieces of driftwood and old barrels left by fishermen. Leo worked quickly, tying them together with rope from the hut. Camilla gathered palm leaves to make a small sail. Within an hour they had built a simple raft. It was rough but strong enough to hold them. Before leaving, Camilla looked back at the forest. "They will come here soon," she said quietly. "Let us go before they find the trail." They pushed the raft into the water and climbed aboard. The waves were gentle and the wind carried them slowly away from the island. Camilla held the sail while Leo steered with a wooden pole. The fishing ship was still far ahead, but they were getting closer. Hours passed. The sun rose high and the heat became strong. Leo wiped sweat from his face. "Do you think the captain of that ship will help us?" he asked. Camilla nodded slightly. "If we offer him one small gem, he will. People in these waters value treasure more than royal orders." But before they could reach the ship, the sound of engines echoed from behind. Leo turned and saw two fast boats approaching from the north. Each carried the royal flag. His face turned pale. "They found us again." Camilla's eyes narrowed. "They must have tracked the drone's signal. Hold tight." She turned the sail sharply, trying to change direction. The raft moved faster, but the boats were gaining speed. Spray from the water hit their faces as the wind grew stronger. One of the royal boats fired a signal flare into the sky. A loud voice came through a loudspeaker. "Stop immediately. You are under royal custody." Camilla ignored it. She looked ahead at the fishing ship. It was close now. She waved her arm, shouting, "Help us!" The fishermen saw her and began lowering a rope. The royal boats fired another flare, this time closer to the raft. The water splashed and Leo lost balance for a moment. "We will not make it," he said. Camilla's eyes burned with determination. "We will." The raft hit a strong wave, throwing them off balance again. Camilla gripped the rope tightly as the fishing crew pulled them closer. The royal boats were almost upon them. One of the guards aimed a grappling hook, trying to stop the raft. Just then, a sudden gust of wind blew, turning the raft sharply. The hook missed by inches and splashed into the sea. The fishermen shouted and pulled harder. Within seconds, Camilla and Leo were aboard the fishing ship. The captain, an old man with a gray beard, looked at them with confusion. "Who are you?" he demanded. Camilla caught her breath and said, "We need passage to the mainland. We can pay." She opened the bag slightly, showing the sparkle of one small jewel. The captain's eyes widened. "You have yourself a deal," he said. The fishing ship turned quickly, heading west. Behind them, the royal boat slowed down, unable to enter the shallow, rocky area near the coast. Captain Rowan's voice came through the radio on the royal boat. "Do not chase into the reef. It is too dangerous. Circle the island and wait for orders." Camilla watched from the deck as the royal boats disappeared in the distance. For now they were safe, but she knew it would not last. The jewels were too valuable, and the royals would never stop hunting them. The fishing crew worked silently. Leo sat near the railing staring at the water. "We escaped again," he said softly. "But how long can this go on?" "As long as it needs to," Camilla replied. The captain approached them later with food and water. You must have made powerful enemies, he said. Those boats are Royal Guard ships. Why are they chasing you? Camilla smiled politely. Let us just say they want something I have. The captain looked at her with curiosity but did not ask more. He was a man who understood the value of silence. That night the fishing ship continued its journey. The stars shone brightly above the calm sea. Camilla sat alone on the deck looking at the horizon. She thought about her father, her mother, and the life she had left behind. Leo joined her after some time. What will you do once we reach the mainland? He asked. I will disappear, she said. Change my name, sell one gem to start a new life. The rest I will keep hidden until the world is ready to hear the truth. Leo nodded. And if they find you again? Then I will fight again, she said simply. Suddenly, a flash of light appeared in the sky behind them. It was not lightning. It was a flare from the Royal Navy. Leo stood up quickly. They are still following. Camilla clenched her fists. They will not stop until I make them understand. The captain came out from the cabin, his face tense. We can take a different route through the old trade channels. The Navy will not expect it. Do it, Camilla said. The fishing ship changed direction, turning south into darker waters. The waves were calm, but the night was filled with tension. Camilla held the bag with the jewels close to her chest. She whispered to herself, no one will take them back. Not until the truth is free. Leo watched her quietly. He knew she would never give up, no matter how hard the journey became. The royal guards were powerful, but Camilla's will was stronger. She was no longer just a servant or a thief. She had become something more, a symbol of defiance against power. The fishing ship sailed on through the night, its lights faint against the vast ocean. Far behind them, the Royal Navy spread out, determined to hunt her down. The chase was not over. It had only just begun. The fishing ship moved through the dark waters of the southern route. The wind had softened and the sea looked calm under the pale light of dawn. Camilla stood at the front of the ship, her eyes fixed on the horizon. Each wave brought her closer to freedom, but also closer to danger. The Royal Navy was still out there searching. She could almost feel their presence behind her. Leo came up from below deck holding a cup of warm tea. You should rest for a while, he said gently. You have not slept in 2 days. Camilla shook her head. I cannot rest until I know we are safe. The Navy has ships faster than this one. They will find us again. Leo looked at her with worry. You cannot fight them forever. Maybe we should give the jewels back. At least then they might let us live. Camilla turned toward him sharply. You think they will forgive me? You think they will welcome us back? No, Leo, they will lock us away and erase our names. The jewels are the only proof of their greed. Without them, my voice is nothing. Her tone was firm, and Leo said nothing more. He understood her pain, but feared where it would lead. The captain of the fishing ship, the old man with the gray beard, came out of the cabin. We are close to the border waters, he said. Once we cross, the Royal Navy cannot act without international permission. But it is still risky. They will try to stop us before we reach that line. Camilla nodded. Then we move faster. Can your ship handle more speed? The captain hesitated. It can, but we will burn too much fuel. And if something breaks, we will be stranded. Take the risk, Camilla said. We cannot let them catch up. The captain gave a small nod and went back to the controls. The engines roared louder as the ship began to move faster. The waves crashed harder against the sides. Camilla gripped the railing, feeling the vibration under her feet. Hours passed and the sun climbed higher. The ocean stretched endlessly around them. Camilla went below deck to check on the steel box. She opened it slightly to make sure the jewels were still safe. The gems glimmered even in the dim light. Each one held centuries of history and power. She looked at them and whispered, You caused so much pain. Now you will be used for something better. Leo entered quietly. I have been thinking, he said. If we reach America, what then? You cannot sell these jewels in public. The moment you do, the world will know. Camilla closed the box and looked at him. Then I will not sell them all. Just 1 or 2, enough to start over. The rest I will give to someone who can reveal the truth about the royal family. There are journalists who still believe in justice. Leo sighed. You really think justice will come from this? It must, she said firmly. Before they could continue, a loud alarm sounded from the deck. The captain's voice echoed through the corridor. Ships behind us. Royal Navy on radar. Camilla rushed to the deck. She saw 3 dark shapes on the horizon moving fast toward them. The royal flags were visible even from afar. Her heart tightened. They were gaining speed. The captain shouted, "They are sending a signal. They are ordering us to stop." Camilla looked at him. "Ignore it. Keep moving. They will fire if we do not stop," the captain warned. "Then they will have to risk it," she said coldly. "They will not destroy the Queen's jewels at sea." The old man gritted his teeth and kept the engines running. The ship sped through the waves. The royal vessels came closer, their lights flashing. A voice came through the radio. "This is Captain Rowan of the Royal Navy. Surrender immediately. You are carrying stolen royal property. Failure to comply will lead to action." Camilla took the radio and spoke calmly. "Captain Rowan, you are chasing a lie. These jewels belong to no one now. They are symbols of truth, not property." There was silence for a moment, then Rowan replied, "Miss Camilla, I do not want to harm you, but I have my duty. Stop the ship and we can resolve this peacefully." Camilla's voice remained steady. "Peace does not exist under the crown, Captain. You know that." She placed the radio down and turned to Leo. "Prepare the lifeboat. If we are hit, we will not go down with this ship." Leo nodded and went to work. The captain looked at her, his face pale. "They are not stopping. They will reach us in minutes." Just then, the ship shook violently. A warning shot had been fired. Water splashed high into the air near the hull. Leo shouted, "They are serious this time." Camilla gritted her teeth. "Keep going." Another shot came closer this time. The fishing crew began to panic. The captain shouted, "We cannot take more hits. The ship will break." Camilla knew he was right. She looked at Leo and whispered, "Get the box." He ran below deck and returned moments later with the steel box wrapped in cloth. Camilla opened the lifeboat and placed it inside carefully. The captain looked at her in shock. "You are leaving." She met his eyes. "You helped us enough. Thank you." The royal ships were almost upon them now. Loudspeakers ordered them again to surrender. Camilla and Leo pushed the lifeboat into the water and climbed in. The waves rocked it hard, but it stayed afloat. The fishing ship slowed down as the Royal Navy surrounded it. Captain Rowan watched from the deck of his ship as the smaller lifeboat drifted away. One of his officers pointed at it. "Should we follow?" Rowan hesitated. "The waves are strong and the current is moving fast. They will not get far." But Camilla had already planned her escape. The lifeboat was equipped with a small engine she had taken from the yacht earlier. She started it quietly and turned the boat toward a dark stretch of coastline far to the west. Leo held on tightly as the lifeboat bounced over the waves. Behind them, the Royal Navy focused on boarding the fishing ship, unaware of the direction they had gone. Camilla smiled faintly. "They are looking the wrong way." The journey was rough. Rain began to fall again and the sea turned wild. The engine sputtered but kept running. Camilla's hands were steady as she guided the small boat through the storm. Leo looked back nervously. "They might still see us." "Not in this weather," she replied. "This storm hides us." Hours later, the sky began to clear. The sea calmed and the coastline appeared closer. A thin line of land stretched ahead. Camilla's eyes brightened. "That is the border shore. Once we reach it, they cannot touch us," Leo smiled weakly. "We made it." But fate had one more challenge waiting. As they approached the shore, a small patrol boat appeared from behind the cliffs. It was not from the Royal Navy. The flag was different. It belonged to an independent coastal authority. The patrol moved toward them, signaling to stop. Camilla whispered, "Keep calm. Do not say anything unless I speak." The patrol officers threw a rope and pulled their boat closer. One of them, a young man with dark eyes, asked, "Where are you coming from?" "Fishing route," Camilla replied. "We lost our main ship in the storm." The officer studied her face for a moment. "You do not look like fishermen." Camilla smiled softly. "We were helping a captain transport supplies. The ship sank near the border." The officer looked suspicious, but he finally nodded. "We will escort you to the station for safety." Leo looked nervous, but Camilla whispered, "Let them. It will give us a chance to rest." They reached a small harbor and stepped onto land for the first time in days. The patrol officers guided them to a small office. Camilla carried the bag with the jewels close to her side. Inside, they were offered food and water. When the officer left to make a report, Leo turned to her and whispered, "Do you think they know who we are?" "Not yet," she said, "but we cannot stay long." As she spoke, she noticed a man standing near the harbor entrance. He was dressed in plain clothes, but his eyes were sharp and familiar. Captain Rowan had sent someone ahead. The chase was far from over. Camilla tightened her grip on the bag. She looked at Leo and said quietly, "Get ready. We move again tonight." The wind outside grew stronger and the harbor lights flickered. The ocean waited beyond the docks, endless and dark. The jewels still shone in her mind like a promise she could not abandon. She had escaped once again, but her journey toward freedom was not yet done. Night had fallen over the small border harbor. The lights reflected on the water, creating a path of gold and silver. Camilla and Leo waited inside a quiet warehouse at the edge of the docks. The patrol officers had left them alone for a while, unaware of the true nature of their cargo. The steel box with the royal jewels was hidden under a pile of old fishing nets. Camilla's heart beat steadily, but her mind was alert. The journey had brought them far, yet the final challenge awaited. Leo whispered, "We cannot keep running forever. Sooner or later someone will find us." Camilla nodded. "I know, but tonight we take control. No one can stop us if we act carefully." She opened the bag with the jewels and examined them under the dim light. Each gem seemed to hold its own story. The queen's crown diamond, the ruby necklace, the emerald ring. They were not just treasure. They were evidence of power and greed. Camilla had planned to use them to expose the truth about the royal family. For years they had hidden secrets, and the death of the queen had brought only more lies and deception. Leo looked uneasy. "You really think people will listen? The world will care about what the royals did?" Camilla's eyes were firm. "Yes. Once they see the truth, they will understand. We just need the right moment." Suddenly a shadow moved outside the warehouse. Camilla froze and signaled Leo to stay quiet. The wooden doors creaked as someone tried to open them. She quickly hid the steel box under a loose floorboard. A moment later, the doors swung open and Captain Rowan stepped inside. His face was serious, but there was something in his eyes that Camilla could not read. "Camilla," he said, his voice calm but firm, "I warned you. You cannot keep running. The jewels are royal property. Hand them over, and this can end peacefully." Camilla stepped forward, her stance unshaken. "Captain Rowan, you know as well as I do that these jewels are more than property. They are proof of lies. The world will see what the royal family hides." Rowan's eyes narrowed. "And you think you can control the story? You have no one on your side. You are alone in this fight." "I am never alone," Camilla replied. "I have truth, and truth is stronger than fear." Leo stepped beside her, holding her arm. "Camilla, maybe we should listen," he whispered. She shook her head. "No, we have come too far to give up now." Rowan sighed. "Then there is no choice." He reached into his coat, pulling out a small scanner. "If the jewels are here, I will find them." "You cannot hide from technology." Camilla's mind raced. She had anticipated this possibility. While Rowan was focused on the floor, she whispered to Leo, "Distract him." Leo stepped forward, holding a lantern. He dropped it suddenly, and the light rolled across the floor, catching Rowan off guard. Camilla quickly moved to the floorboard and lifted it. She grabbed the steel box and held it close. Rowan shouted, "Stop! Do not move!" But it was too late. Camilla and Leo ran toward the back exit, the sound of their footsteps echoing in the warehouse. Rowan ran after them, shouting orders into his radio. "They are escaping! Block the harbor!" Outside, the night was cool and silent. Camilla ran toward a small fishing boat tied nearby. It was the same one that had helped them escape the storm. She jumped aboard and started the engine. Leo followed, climbing in quickly. Rowan reached the dock, but by then the boat had moved into the dark waters. The patrol boats were far behind, and the harbor was quiet again. Camilla held the box tightly, feeling the weight of what she carried. "Where now?" Leo asked, his voice trembling. "North," Camilla said. "There is a safe house in the city. We can rest there and plan the next step." The journey through the night was tense. Every shadow on the water seemed like a threat, every distant light a potential enemy. Camilla navigated carefully, keeping the boat hidden along the coastline. Leo sat quietly watching her. "You really are fearless," he said softly. Camilla smiled faintly. "No, I am careful. Fear keeps you alive. Courage keeps you moving." Hours later, the skyline of the city appeared. Lights sparkled along the coast, and Camilla guided the boat into a small hidden inlet. They tied it to an abandoned dock far from the main streets. The city was alive with activity, but no one noticed them. Inside the safe house, Camilla placed the steel box on a sturdy table. She opened it and studied the jewels again. "These will tell the story," she said. "But we must be smart. One mistake and it is all over. Leo looked around nervously. Do we know anyone who can help? Someone who will believe us? Camilla nodded. Yes, there is a journalist, Elena, who has always exposed corruption. She will know how to use these jewels to reveal the truth. By morning, they prepared to meet Elena. Camilla wrapped the steel box carefully and carried it under her coat. Leo followed closely. They walked through crowded streets blending with people until they reached a small office in the heart of the city. Elena greeted them cautiously. Who are you and why are you here at this hour? Camilla introduced herself quickly. My name is Camilla. I have something that the world must see. The royal jewels of the late queen, stolen, yes, but they carry a story the public must know. Elena's eyes widened. This is serious. The royal family will come after you. I know, Camilla said. That is why we need your help. You can make them see the truth. Not for revenge, but for justice. Elena studied the jewels. These are worth a fortune, she said quietly. And you risked everything to bring them here. Yes, Camilla said. And I will risk more if I must. People need to know what has been hidden. The queen's death uncovered greed, deception, and betrayal. These jewels are proof. Elena nodded. I will help. We will publish the story carefully. It will reach the world. Camilla felt a small relief. For the first time in weeks, she believed that the chase could end. The jewels were safe. The story would be told, and the royal family's secrets could no longer remain hidden. But that night, Camilla and Leo kept watch. They knew the Royal Navy would not give up easily. They stayed inside the safe house, listening to the sounds of the city, alert to any danger. Days passed. The story was prepared and sent to international news channels. Camilla watched quietly as the world began to notice. The jewels, once symbols of greed, were now symbols of courage and truth. Finally, a message came. The Royal Council had been forced to respond. Their officials admitted the misuse of the Queen's wealth and promised investigations. Camilla's plan had worked. Leo turned to her amazed. You actually did it. You brought justice. Camilla looked at the steel box, now empty. She smiled softly. Not for revenge. For truth. That is the only justice that matters. As the sun rose over the city, Camilla and Leo stepped outside. The world around them was alive and freedom felt real for the first time. The royal jewels had been a burden, but now they were a key. A key to truth, to courage, and to a life that could finally be theirs. Camilla looked at Leo and whispered, We are free, and this time, we stay free. The city buzzed with energy, unaware of the journey that had brought these two people here. Camilla walked forward, holding the lessons of the past close to her heart. The royal chase was over, but the story of the jewels would live forever.